Decided to wear my Irish shirt today.
Oh, look at ya, boy.
Yeah. Bringing a little luck of the Irish. I mean, after all, this next week is St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, it is. You're going to have potatoes, lad.
Potatoes and...
Potatoes and some delicious corned beef and cabbage.
Corned beef and cabbage, yeah. Today's show is brought to you by Lucky Charms.
Ooh,
They're magically
look at
delicious.
the Irish.
And by Guinness. After the show, we're going to stop by the bar and have a few pints.
You are, and I'm going to watch you, and I'm going to drive you home, lad. I actually heard an Irishman one time, and I am recording right now. I see you are as well. Heard an Irishman one time go, why is it that every time you guys imitate us, you go to like a gay Irishman?
Right.
Oh, hello.
Or Scottish.
You go up, he says, we got deep voices too, man.
The best imitation I've heard of a non-Irish, non-Scottish person is Robin Williams when he talked about how they invented golf.
Yeah.
It's the funniest 5 minutes.
It is. It's pretty good.
Laugh my ass off that.
It is pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Oh, man.
And that's how the show's going to go today, boys and girls.
Right.
It's going to be, we're already off the rails and we haven't even started the show.
Recording from an undisclosed location in Sacramento, it's Jeff and Dave Talk Movies.
So they're relaunching Magnum PI.
Nice.
And they casted Jesse, I can't remember his last name now. He was in the Bad Moms movies. He was the male in the Bad Moms movies, Hispanic actor. They're casting him as James Bond. Or no, they're casting him as Magnum PI. And this is going to be the CBS version. Okay. Simultaneously, ABC's coming out with a spin-off of Magnum PI, only it's going to be Magnum PI's daughter, Lily, taking over the role of taking over the private investigator role. So they're supposedly going to have simultaneously Magnum PI shows running on different networks.
I don't know how that's going to work.
I don't know either, but I'm intrigued by both ideas. I loved Magnum PI, the original series, and I still watch it to this day. I'll tune in. But I don't know. They've done a great job with the Hawaii Five-0 and with the new MacGyver series, those remakes. So I'm kind of intrigued by it. I'm like, if they do it right, but I don't know about two going. I mean, I was when they first announced that it was going to be his daughter doing it. I was like, okay, cool. I can see that, and then maybe Tom Selleck might make a couple cameos or something, in it or whatever. But
no, you know what? That would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, but then they announced, well, we're going to completely recast the character. We're going to kind of start from scratch, and with this new guy doing it on a completely different network, and then the Higgins character is going to be a female.
Yeah.
So, but where I was going with this is okay. I don't know how big of a fan of Magnum PI you were.
I was, I'll sit down and watch it. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, gotta tune in. My mom was, because Tom Selleck.
Well, I love the show, period. And I was a huge fan of Higgins. I mean, he was freaking hilarious. I loved his character, but his backstory. I don't know how it would work now. It probably would have worked better, like maybe right after. That would have been a great show to do, a Higgins show.
Oh yeah, because there was some unsaid stuff.
There was Higgins. A lot of unsaid stuff in there, and just his history that he had, and and all of his stories that he told, and all of his, I mean, that would have made a great show.
One thing about Higgins, and I don't know if they ever explored this on the show, but I had read one rumor where people are just trying to enhance it, so this is kind of a fan thing, so take it for what you will, but the rumor was, or the fan theory was, that he was a retired James Bond.
Yeah. Well, he worked for MI6.
Right.
I mean, and that's why I'm saying you
Right.
don't even have to tout it. I mean, you can call the show Higgins, or call it, whatever you want, but it could just be, it's not touted as, this is, the Higgins from Magnum. It's just a show called Higgins, and you're telling his backstory.
Right.
And it just,
well, if we're gonna go that route, I want a TV show about Alfred. About Bruce Wayne's butler. No. I don't.
No, I totally agree with that.
I don't mean that in a mean way, but his early life, because he was some sort of special forces.
That's what I'm
bad
saying,
A.
man. It's like, you have all these different stories you could tell.
Yeah.
It's like, why? I would rather see that Higgins show than a remake of Magnum PI.
Oh, heck yeah.
You know what I mean? I would rather see that type, or even the Alfred show.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, there's a
And
history there.
you totally could do it with him writing his memoirs, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, and
okay,
he's
there was
like,
an experience.
Right.
Because in
And if anybody steals that idea, I'm coming after you.
oh, that's right. But in The Dark Knight, when you have Alfred just offhand and go, oh yeah, when I was younger, we were chasing this guy through Burma.
Yeah.
Okay, you were what?
Right. Yeah.
And
look at Jeremy Irons' version.
yeah,
I mean, he's like pretty hardcore, man.
oh yeah, and so you're kind of hearing this story, and it's like, I want to see that freaking story. It's like,
Right.
well, how did you catch the bad guy? We burned the forest down.
I would rather see that than some of this other crap they're coming
Oh,
out
I
with
know.
right now. I mean,
And so-
that would actually go over really freaking well.
Shoot, and yeah, see these guys for who they really are. And,
Yeah.
And then it kind of makes sense where you could show that they're doing some really hardcore stuff. And when they finally decide, I need a simpler life.
Mm-hmm.
And they become a butler.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
yeah, I would love to see that journey. I agree with you there. Let's do a Higgins movie and an Alfred movie. Shoot, let's do a team up.
Oh, that'd be sweet. Higgins and Alfred.
That's right.
I mean, hey, they probably had the same background. God, can
Together.
you imagine
How cool
how
would that be?
tie-in would that be?
Oh, yeah. Let's just do it. Dude,
Dude,
let's just do it.
look at it. God, that would be freaking cool, actually.
Yeah.
And then you can do a spit like, okay, so they, whatever one comes first, either Alfred or Higgins. The Higgins show comes first, and then, where they show him at MI6, and here comes Alfred. He walks into the room, they meet, and they go off and have an adventure together.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, from that, you make your spin-off series
Yep.
of Alfred or Higgins, whatever. But, God, yeah, I mean, that's how many great shows came out of Magnum PI anyway. Simon & Simon came out. Murder, She Wrote came out of Magnum PI. I don't know if anybody knew that, but
I
that
did
was the
not know
first
that.
time Angela Lansbury played her novelist. She made her first appearance on Magnum PI.
Wow.
Murder, She Wrote. So Murder, She
Nice.
Wrote and Simon both were spinoffs from Magnum PI.
Nice. Yeah, we got to do this. Come on, make this
That would
happen.
be freaking. I want to see that.
That would be awesome.
A Higgins and Alfred TV
Oh, yeah.
show.
Come on, give it to us.
When you first said that, I was thinking you said Alf.
No.
I was
No.
like, what?
No.
Are you
But
mocking me?
Alfred, because, excuse me, in the comics, they've really kind of played it up, but they've hinted at it in a couple places that, no, Alfred really has a dark past.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it would be amazing just to do it. And you don't even have to have superheroes in it.
Right.
Just have him be doing
No, I
whatever he's
don't.
doing.
I
Special
wouldn't
forces.
even want to see. Don't
Yeah.
bring Batman in. Don't bring. I mean, you could have it maybe as this. If after how many years and the series is ending down or whatever, he's like, okay, I'm gonna take. It's time for me to retire and live a
Yeah.
quieter life, kind of like what you're saying. And I'm gonna go be a butler. And all of a sudden, he's working for the Waynes.
Yeah. Well,
You
there
know?
was again a few years ago they did a graphic novel called Batman Year. Well, they did it year one, but I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was year one. a different version of Year One. Or anyway, where Alfred's brother was the Wayne's butler, and he was sick, and he was like, "Hey, I need you to come and take over for me. I love this family. They're a great family. I can't do it anymore. Come and take over." And so Alfred comes and takes over the butler duties before Bruce is born.
Okay.
And really kind of a cool transition. So it'd be kind of interesting. That's how you could end the series right there.
Right. Yeah.
Where he's communicating with his brother, and it's like, yeah, I'm thinking of doing this, and
God,
come work for this family.
God, that'd be so cool. That, and I thought about that. That's been in the back of my. As soon as we started talking about remakes and stuff, all of a sudden the Magnum thing popped in my head because there was a lot of talk about it this week because they just recast the character. But that premise, that show premise, was always been in the back of my mind. Is like, I want to see a Higgins standalone TV series, and you can totally make it work.
Oh yeah, because there's nothing better about that character where he's this unassuming. You think kind of a buffoon, but no, that dude.
Yeah, it's totally hardcore.
He's legit. He's more hardcore than Magnum probably.
There was an episode, and I'm gonna start getting caught up in my Magnum geekism here. There was an episode where Higgins was stranded on a deserted island with some teenagers who were hooligans, and they ended up killing the other adult on the island, and Higgins had to fend for himself, and he's running around the island, and he's setting traps, and he's hijacking these teenagers, and he's taking them all down and everything. But you kind of got a sense of how badass his character was, but when he was younger and more in shape, when he was going around the island, kind of acting like Rambo, But I mean, still, it's like, dude, there's so much to that character that just it didn't we need more of that.
Oh yeah.
We need more of that history.
We need more than a taste.
Yeah.
We need a full meal, man.
You can totally make that work. I think we should do that. I think that's I'm going to write up a treatment. I'm going to send it off to CBS.
Do it, man. You need any input, let me know. That would be wicked cool.
That would be awesome. I am
on that list.
I'm a little disappointed with Disney right now. Wrinkle in Time came out, and
have you seen it?
I have not seen it, and I don't know if I really want to be honest with you. It doesn't look good, and the reviews are horrible for. I mean, and the reviews don't stop me, but it's just not appealing to me.
It didn't appeal to me. I tried reading the book a few years ago, and I just had a really hard time getting into it. And I know it's a super famous book, and I think there's 5 or 6 in the whole series.
Some books just shouldn't be made into movies.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although there was a period of time where people were saying The Lord of the Rings could never be made into a movie.
Wow.
And
they
proven
were
wrong. They were way wrong. And
best picture of the year.
Oh yeah, but
sorry, I have to. I'm still on my second cup of coffee.
No, you go, man. You go. I downed a 42-ounce Dr. Pepper on the way.
How did I know that?
I had to. It's my coping mechanism. It is my scotch. But no, that's one that I'm not interested in seeing.
No, I'm not either.
I'm super not interested in seeing it, and that's why I in my review show, Fat Guy in Film, we're actually starting a new segment called Fat Guy's Workshop.
Yeah.
Where I do 3D printing stuff and cosplay deals. So
actually, you brought a little something here today.
I did. I'm going to hold it up. So the 2018 Black Panther helmet, look how sexy that thing is.
That is badass.
I am going to actually get working on this today. Cool. I'm going to paint it and
we got the Civil War helmet back behind you.
Yeah.
And then we got...
Bring that one on camera.
That's so cool. I love it.
Yeah, so...
last week you had a few others here. You actually brought in a Stormtrooper helmet. And
I brought the Short Trooper, and we had Iron Man here.
Iron Man, yep.
And I'm...
Oh, yeah, Batman, too. Yeah, the Batman.
Yeah, and so I'm going to be... That's my new segment, but totally lost where I was going on it. But I talked about we're kind of in a movie desert right now.
Oh, God, yeah.
Where
I was actually thinking about going to movies last night, and I'm going through them. There's nothing out there I want to see.
Right. And so, like, typically, for those of you that are listening and don't know, typically January, February, March, April are kind of a dumping ground.
Right.
Where it's just like, we don't care about this movie, just put it out. And every now and again we get lucky because we got Deadpool last year or the year before in February, it totally knocked it out of the park. And we got Black Panther this year in February, and it knocked it out of the park.
Right. No, it's just right after the Academy Awards, and nobody's gonna release a movie that they're pushing for Academy Awards right after the previous year awards. So yeah, I agree. It's totally dead right now. In fact, last night I'm sitting there going through what do I want to watch, and I end up watching the original Superman. I keep going back to this. This is like the third week in a row I keep bringing it up. But dude, there's this, I keep going back to that movie. And last night as I'm watching it, I'm like, I will totally put this movie up against any Marvel movie out there today.
Oh yeah,
any one of them.
Well, we talked about this last week, and you had sent me a link, and I had seen this before, but it's always worth watching. The behind the scenes, the making of the original Superman, and
there's a couple things that they mentioned there that totally blew me away. Like, I didn't know the shoot was over a year long.
Oh yeah, well they were shooting two movies.
They were shooting two movies.
They were shooting two movies, and I think
simultaneously. That wasn't like while they're filming one scene, they were filming scenes for the second one.
Yep, and so that's why a few years ago they released the Richard Donner cut, because what had happened is Superman was so successful, they fired Richard Donner, because that's what you do.
Stupid.
Yeah, when things go really, really well, you fire the person that made it go really well.
Right.
And they brought in Richard Lester, who could give two craps about the movie.
Right.
And Superman 2 was the result of that. But they used, from what I understand, Richard Donner had recorded like 80% of the movie.
Well, that other 20%, you can tell.
You can totally tell.
You can totally tell.
And then to truly see the difference, Richard Lester completely directed Superman 3. Go watch Superman 3, and then you tell me the difference.
3.
Yeah, exactly. And then they did the Quest for Peace, Superman 4.
There's one scene in Superman 3 that I absolutely love, and it's straight out of the comic book. Is when he fights himself.
Oh
in
yeah.
the scrapyard.
Well,
I love that. That's the one scene. That's it.
But that one was super Shakespearean, and it was beautifully done. Yeah, it's a remarkable scene, and I'm surprised Richard Lester actually was able to direct that, because he's just not known for being spectacular.
You never know what goes on behind the scenes.
It's true, but back to the original Superman, that movie is amazing. I
love that movie.
It is. It really, really is, and to hear what a lot of the people were saying about Richard Donner and Christopher Reeve, where Richard Donner himself said this movie could not have been made without Christopher Reeve.
Right.
He was the one that totally embodied who Superman was, and
well, you had oh my god, the cast, man. I mean, Gene Hackman, Ned Beatty, Margot Kidder, but I mean, you had Christopher Reeve, who put everything into the backstory for Superman. His knowledge was just off the hook, and then you had Richard Donner, who was the same. I mean, this was like his passion project. This wasn't just like, okay, yeah, I'll come direct it. Just give me the script and I'll go. I mean, he put everything into this movie. I mean, they were saying that there was weeks where he was barely getting any sleep.
Right. Well, yeah, they said the cast was barely getting any sleep.
Right.
And Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane, was saying, it's like, yeah, we weren't getting hardly any sleep. And so, but Richard Donner was getting even less.
Right, and then it was his demeanor on set that actually made it enjoyable for people to come to work, even though they weren't getting any sleep.
Well, in his directing style, they brought up, Margot Kidder was another one that brought it up, where she was like, he directed everybody differently. Where he really got to know his actors and got to know, well, I can't do that with this particular actor and get a good performance. I have to do this, and that's just genius.
Yeah.
But Richard Donner, I mean, let's look at what he's done. He's made some iconic movies. The Lethal Weapon series, he directed all 4 of those, and all 4 of them are solid.
Yep.
The Goonies.
God, The Goonies. One of my favorite movies
of
all time.
Superman. He did The Omen. He's prolific.
Yeah.
As a director, I think he did. He also directed Conspiracy Theory. with Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts. He's
That
just
wasn't a bad movie either.
no, he's just a really, really good director. And
There's some great directors out there, man. Going back to, I always go back to Mel Gibson. I mean, he kind of fell out of Hollywood for a while. Now he's starting to come back in it a little bit. But
Yep.
I mean, he can direct too, man. That guy
Oh,
can
yeah.
direct to madness.
well, and you boil it right down, he's a brilliant actor too.
He is.
Just, I mean, a lot of people are going to bring up Braveheart, but watch Maverick. His comedy chops in there are brilliant. The
I love
Patriot.
that movie. The Patriot. Oh, that's another
The
great
Patriot's a freaking
movie. I
amazing
didn't like the
movie.
ending of that movie, but the beginning part of that movie where he goes off to rescue his son and he grabs his hatchets and he's just like a one-man wrecking crew.
Oh yeah.
It's just freaking awesome, man.
Oh yeah. Well, when the one surviving soldier is being interrogated by the bad guys, like, so how many were there? I only saw one.
Just one.
He was like a ghost. Yeah, it was. But he's a brilliant director, but he's a great actor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he really is. One movie that still gets me, and I go back to it, and Passion of the Christ.
haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
Haven't seen it. I need to sit down and watch it.
It's all subtitled.
Right, because it's in Aramaic.
It's in Aramaic, and that's why Mel Gibson. I mean, he went back to super old school for that one, and it was so
Apocalypto.
good.
He did Ancient Mayan, I believe.
I wasn't big on Apocalypto, but
It was okay.
Passion of the Christ. I'm telling you, it's one of those movies where, I mean, you'll either love it or you'll hate it, but if you love it, it will change you.
Oh, I'm sure.
There's when that movie. I remember when that movie came out. There was lots of people who actually saw that movie and they said they walked out of that a changed person because of that.
Oh, sure.
I mean, because it's very graphic. It goes through.
Yeah, what they
shows
did to him.
Everything. And but no, it's great.
Yeah,
a great movie. It's a
I
great
need to
movie.
give that a watch. But, going with the great director, I mean, sure, we could say Spielberg and all that, but man, Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott is a great.
Ridley Scott.
I was watching The Martian for the first time. And, I mean, I've seen it a bunch of times, but the first time I saw The Martian, I was sitting there watching, go, man, this is really good.
Yeah.
And at the end, directed by Ridley Scott. It's like, well, that's why it was really good.
That's why.
Really, really good movie.
That's one of my favorite Matt Damon movies. I love. You didn't watch the Academy Awards this year, right?
Hell no.
Okay.
I
So
kept track of who was winning, but I don't want to hear the politics.
There was they did a cutaway and they showed scenes from past movies. And Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon have this little mock feud going on.
Right.
And it's pretty hilarious. Well, one of the scenes that they cut away to had Matt Damon in it. And so when they cut back to Jimmy Kimmel, first thing out of Jimmy Kimmel's mouth, he goes, I want to apologize to everybody in the audience right now. And he's really serious. I want to apologize to everybody in the audience right now and those watching. We did not intend to show Matt Damon up on that screen. It's just freaking hilarious. So you didn't watch the Academy Awards.
Nope.
But I know we were both actually disappointed with the Best Director win, and that's not a knock against Guillermo del Toro at all.
He is a great director. I love Pacific Rim. I enjoyed the.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed Pan's Labyrinth. I enjoyed the Hellboy movies, but I think he just does some weird crap, and I did not get The Shape of Water. I didn't get it.
No, I don't know about that. I honestly didn't watch it. I didn't watch the movie. And I have no intention of watching the movie. It doesn't appeal to me. I mean, it honestly, and there's a lot of people out there who will probably scold me for this and who love the movie. It just looks stupid to me.
It was.
It really does. I mean, who the hell is going to fall in love with a freaking fish?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's more to it in the plot, whatever. But I mean, that's just to me. It doesn't.
There's
appeal
kind
to
of.
me.
There's kind of not. There.
I don't know.
I mean, you summed it up right there, and then you got Michael Shannon, who's just kind of this dirtbag racist. Typical carbon. The carbon cutout or carbon copy white racist you see in a movie, and it just. I just don't get it.
Man,
I didn't get it.
I don't know. Best picture.
I know.
Best picture.
No.
I don't. Why?
I know. I don't get it. When you have, again, Lady Bird, Dunkirk, Darkest Hour,
Get Out,
Get Out.
Phantom Thread, The Post. The Post. God, The Post. I mean, what?
Yeah, you
Post
had
even win anything?
you had all of these movies that were way better than The Shape of Water.
Mm-hmm.
And nope, we're going to give it to.
Well, we talked about that last week. I mean, how many when we went back and when we were looking at the movies that should have won Best Picture, you see, even the dogs agree.
Right. Yep. Dogs agree.
What should have won Best Picture and what shouldn't have won Best Picture, and there's a history of that, of not the best movie winning.
Oh yeah. Well, and I don't even agree with some of the nominees.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
for instance,
I get the nominees. I get that they, why that they put these crap nominees up there, because one picture is it, and you put all these other great nominees
right.
up there, and it's
I
kind of
totally
hard to
get
argue
that
for that one movie.
I totally get that, but I don't know if you've seen it yet, but Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
That movie was absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. Wonder Woman. It's like, okay, let's get rid of Shape of Water. Let's get rid of 21 or whatever, 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. Whatever the frick. I mean, good on you, Frances McDermott, for winning Best Actress. But
yeah, it was deserved.
There was 2 movies that were flat out amazing. Blade Runner 2049 and Wonder Woman that could have totally been nominated. Yeah. Okay, fine. Don't have them win, but at least give them a nod.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That these movies were, they were freaking fantastic. And, I can't say enough good about either one of those movies, and they should have been nominated.
Well,
and
the Academy Awards to me is not going to be credible until you start recognizing these types of movies. We beat this topic, over
I know.
and over again.
It's
not going to be credible until you start recognizing these
No.
movies. I mean, it took them so long before they started finally recognizing the animated movies, and then gave it its own category.
Right.
I'm not saying, give comic book movies its own category. No, I don't think you should give it its own category. I think you should. I think you need to include animated movies in with the Best Picture nominees.
Yeah.
And you need to include superhero movies in with the Best Picture nominees. Because Up was a fantastic freaking movie.
Oh, it was brilliant.
And that one year we talked about, it should have won Best Picture.
It should have. And again, like we talked about last week, Up was deeper in message in a lot of points than some of these movies that get nominated.
Yeah.
I mean, it was deeper in tone and in message, even though it was marketed towards children, than The Shape of Water ever was.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't get it. And the other reason why I don't watch it, and they need to get rid of this, can we just stop talking politics?
Yeah.
Every time we go there, no one cares. We go to the movies for escapism, to forget about the state of the world.
It's the platform, I mean, it's what other platform do these people have to get to get their messages out. And Frances McDormand's speech and her Best Actress speech, that was, again, it's and until things change, you're not going to see that. You're probably never going to see that stuff go away. But
right.
Things need to change in order for everybody to move on.
Right. And so, and it's just, it's kind of like,
pay people the same, man. Why? How are you gonna not see that? How are you gonna not pay Frances McDormand the same as you pay freaking, Sam Rockwell, dude? I mean, come on. I mean, just because they're
I totally,
seriously.
I agree with that, but I can also see from a marketing standpoint, there's not a lot of people that are going to be like, oh, Frances McDormand's in that. Let's go see it. Mm-hmm. And it's also, I don't know that she's ever been in a blockbuster. So it's
Fargo. Yeah, Fargo was a big hit.
It was.
It wasn't a blockbuster, but it was a good.
Right.
Actually, it was a good movie.
Fargo's a great movie, but I don't know. I do agree. Yes, pay him the same amount, and if this actor's making $5 million for the picture, then the lead actress needs to be paid the same amount. But I honestly really don't want to get into that whole thing because it's going to become, take us into an area of the show that I personally don't want it to become. But I don't know, it bugs me. I just want to be entertained.
Yeah,
I don't want
totally.
I don't want to hear about how crappy things are. I know how crappy things are. Mm-hmm. Can can we just watch movies and just enjoy? That's my whole thing on it, and I'm just tired of how political everything has gotten.
I agree 110%. There's a couple other things that Sam Rockwell nailed that one.
Oh yeah, no, that one was really good.
That was good.
Allison Janney, I think we had kind of.
Yeah, I think
we were
agreed.
hoping.
Well, it was either her or Laurie Metcalf, I think.
Right, and we were hoping for Laurie Metcalf, but I think we had kind of nailed that Allison Janney was going to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Oldman, totally agree with
deserved,
that.
Yeah,
totally deserved. And Coco, I think totally deserved
for sure.
Best Animated Picture. Still haven't seen Love Basketball.
And there's a lot of controversy around that too. Going back, there was a lot.
Because Kobe Bryant, because
and his that whole sexual allegation thing that happened a while back. But again, it's I don't know, man. I don't want to. I'm not even going to go there. But I mean, best original screenplay, Jordan Peele winning for Get Out. I was actually happy with that if Greta Gerwig didn't get it.
Yeah, no, and that was. I mean, it's his first time.
Yeah.
It's his first outing. So I'm not surprised that it didn't win, that Get Out didn't win Best Picture or Best Director, because it's his first time doing it, and they're not going to allow him to peak.
So here's one. This one made me laugh out loud when they gave this Academy Award out. Best Original Score went to Shape of Water. Over Dunkirk, Phantom Thread, Star Wars, and 3 Billboards. Okay?
Yeah, I know.
What was the one movie that should have been nominated
and didn't?
Greatest
Showman.
And had a great freaking soundtrack, had a great score.
I know. Greatest Showman. Not nominated.
Why?
Not nominated.
How do you do that?
And that's why, right there, ladies and gentlemen, I don't watch the Academy Awards. I think it's stupid.
How do you do that? I'm seriously, I want to know the logic behind that.
There is none.
And it's not like people are, Greatest Showman sucked. No, it didn't.
No, it was a great movie.
And
it was a
great movie. The music was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
So how are you going to sit there and say Shape of Water was a better score than a freaking musical?
I know.
I don't get that.
I know, and that's why I don't watch. I just think it's stupid.
Dunkirk had a freaking let's go with that list of nominees. Dunkirk had a great freaking score to it.
Well, Star Wars, brilliant score.
I was just gonna say this was John Williams' last. He said he's gonna do the next Star Wars, and then he's done. And I'm like, let's give him a nod. At least if he won, it's like okay, let's give him a nod. He'll probably be nominated for the next Star Wars, and they'll probably end up getting it just because it's his, last hurrah.
He might even get a Lifetime Achievement Award.
He probably could, yeah.
But I don't know. Shoot. Even looking at those nominations, Blade Runner 2049, which isn't on there.
Yeah.
That soundtrack, the music for that was better. Although I do have to say this about The Shape of Water. I really did enjoy the music in there because it had a very French flair, and it kind of, I kind of like that. It's a little more, I don't know. It's a little more fun. But that movie was stupid.
But if you're gonna give an award out for best score, you're saying that's the best score,
right?
That you've heard all year over everything, even the stuff that was nominated.
Well, I know, and
it's not.
Well, because the
Wonder Woman, for freak's sake.
Had a better soundtrack.
Yes.
Oh, I know. It's totally. Well, and back to The Greatest Showman, it didn't win even the song that it was nominated for.
Jesus.
It's like, how stupid is this?
And when they performed that song on stage, I'm like, I go, you give them the Academy Award just for that performance.
Yeah.
I mean, just when they did,
I know,
it was such a.
Nope, can't do it. Can't do
God, man.
We can't do it because we don't.
This is me. That's what it's called.
Yeah, we have no legitimacy whatsoever, and that's why I don't watch.
No,
I just don't, because it's just like, no, you guys don't know what you're talking about.
The Academy Awards is so stupid. It is really seriously all about whose ass did you kiss the best.
Yep. Change gears a little bit and go into why Hollywood are you deciding to redo all these movies with just women casts?
Yeah, so
I don't know. It's just been bugging me.
That, and actually you told me this,
Mm-hmm.
that they plan on doing a remake of Logan's Run and with an all-female cast.
Yeah, I don't know if it's all female cast, but with a female lead.
Why the
Why?
freaking remakes? Period.
Right. I agree with that. Why number one? Why the remakes?
Why?
Two, I think we've
My
made it quite
Lord.
clear on this show that we totally support strong female leads, equal pay, the whole thing. I think we've been really clear with that. I mean, and we bring up Wonder Woman, I think, every week.
Mm-hmm.
Love that movie. Amazing movie. Female director, strong female lead. We don't have a problem with that. My personal issue with it is, and I'm going to use the latest Ghostbusters movie as an example,
Mm-hmm.
where, okay, one, why did we need a remake of Ghostbusters? Because the first one was absolutely amazing.
Well, and that one I think, that one was just a mess from the beginning. The original cast, they wanted to do a third one for the longest time.
Right.
And, they even had a script for it, or Dan Aykroyd had written it, and it got so close to being made, and then one thing or another, Bill Murray didn't want to do it, and then, rest in peace,
Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis, and then now obviously they couldn't do it. He was like, well, we want to get a Ghostbusters movie out there. Let's make it with all women,
Because feminism. And here's my whole thing. Bill Murray was in it. He did play a different character, and it's kind of
the cast was in it. They
right.
made an appearance.
But
why? Except for
why couldn't we have it be one of them inherited the Ghostbusters franchise from their uncle?
Mm-hmm.
Don't care who it was.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, maybe even make it where Harold Ramis, his character Egon,
mm-hmm.
in his last will and testament, passes it on to his niece. Yeah. And they decide to take up the mantle again.
Right, pick up where they left
that
off.
That one change would have made it a better movie.
Well, that and the special effects.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the other side of it, too. Because it wasn't that it was an all-female cast that bothered me. It was just because feminism. Every man in that movie was an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's...
Well, look at Bill Murray's character. I mean,
yeah. Right. And so it's just kind of like, okay, so this is how we're going to do it. We're going to make it where only women are smart. Everybody else are, all the guys are dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have to do that?
Well, it's because it's been flipped. For so many years, it was always the male characters who were smart and the female characters who were dumb, and who were the eye candy. And
I kind of get why they're doing it, but I don't for a second think, like when you watch the first Ghostbusters movie, that Sigourney Weaver was treated like she was an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie. I don't think women in general.
I like her character.
Well, yeah. I think that women in film haven't been treated as poorly as how men are being treated right now.
And they're still not, even though they're in the starring roles, even though they're the main characters in these all-female remakes, they're still not being treated right.
No, they're not.
If you really want to treat females right and give them their due, put them in something original.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and let's remake Ocean's 11,
right?
Which was a freaking fantastic remake of with George Clooney and Brad Pitt over Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and all them. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's make an Ocean's 8.
Right.
Which they're taking a little bit different take to that. It's kind of like what we just talked about with Ghostbusters.
Right.
I guess Sandra Bullock's character is Danny Ocean's sister, and he supposedly is dead. He's killed off, and there's a scene in the trailer where she's drinking a scotch in front of his grave. But so it's kind of maybe like an extension of the Ocean's trilogy,
I'm okay with, but
it's not. You're not doing them any justice. At least
you're not.
Put them in something original.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even A Wrinkle in Time. A Wrinkle in Time that we, you know, we just talked about earlier. All female cast. Another female director.
Yep.
You know, but you know, at least they're getting their due.
They are. Well, okay, we got Atomic Blonde. Just saw that. It's actually pretty good.
I didn't see that one.
But I don't know. I have an issue of let's remake it. Let's do it all with women because feminism. That is the dumbest reason on the planet to do it. If you have a point behind it, if there's a reason for it, then do it. But if it's to do it just to do it because you can do it, that is stupid.
Well, and you don't see remakes with all black cast.
Nope.
You know, so it's so
That's how you get-
Hollywood is.
They have no idea what they're doing.
There's way too many freaking remakes out there, man.
There
I mean,
is.
there's some originality.
There is.
I mean, you know, Shape of Water, for as stupid as it is, it's an original movie.
It is. I don't know. I'm bothered by, the lack of originality and then just doing stuff because you can do it. People ate Tide Pods because you could do it. And we saw how that turned out. It's like, just
I don't know.
have a reason for it.
Trying to catch lightning in a bottle. You know, I mean, there's been remakes for as long as
Right.
going all the way back. I mean, God, how many times did Ben-Hur get remade?
Oh, God. Yeah.
I mean, the last Ben-Hur was, you know, that one shouldn't have been done.
I actually thought it was pretty good. But nothing compares to the Charlton Heston
one. I mean,
well, I think
yep.
we're at
we're
about time.
way past our time, but no, it was fun.
It was grand.
It was grand, yes, and gonna head off to the bar for a pint. Not really, but
Yeah, no, it's
I am
only
gonna go
11.
have some Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
All right, folks.
Delicious.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Like
and
always.
don't forget to hit that subscribe button and
like and tell your friends, share the video, please. Let's build our subscribers up. Let's make this show successful. We'd love to do this every day.
absolutely. All right. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.